my computer and phone are saying it's like 5 minutes late. So I just put new batteries in it. I must not have set it properly. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Um, let me pop out the chat here, and I'll let everybody get in. If you want me to say hello, I'm not French. So your ads, because I live in Quebec, being French, are absolutely wasted on me. All right, let's hang on a second here. Oh, shut up, please. No. Here we go. Pop out the chat, and I'll put it on live chat. Now, if you want me to say hello and say, hey, how's it going? You got to say hi in the chat. It's kind of orange there. There we go. That's a little bit better. And then we'll turn it up just a little bit. I'll tell you, it's been a few days. It's been a few days. Everybody come on in and say hello. And I'll tell you, my garden medley vegetables just went into the pantry. And you want to know what's in my garden medley vegetables? Vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin K, vitamin B6, folate, calcium, potassium, phosphorus, manganese, and copper in my garden medley vegetables. Full of it. Full of it, just like me. Let me lift this up just a little bit here. Get up there just a bit. So they went into the pantry today. Our Half Acre Homestead will be getting the video tomorrow. We have been a couple of busy beavers this weekend. Poor Howie is flaked out on the couch watching, well, snoring through some car show stuff. And I have my doctor's appointment tomorrow. It's a phone appointment, which is fine. What else? Oh, my God. I have to check something because yes, I did get cards. Okay. I still have to get more Christmas cards. That was a 3-day job. That was a 3-day job. And it just went in the pantry today. And then Howie's pulled up all my tomato plants, and there's a basket full of red and green tomatoes in my porch, which I'm going to have to think of what to do with. Pretty sure I got an idea. Have you ever seen me make green tomato bread? The first time I made it with diced green tomatoes. And Howie wasn't fussy on it. But I puree them. And since the kids are coming for Thanksgiving on Saturday, I'm picking Briar up Saturday night, and he's hopefully getting Sunday off. And then they will drive him home on their way out on Monday. Because Arthur's so gluten intolerant, I have somebody coming and doing a deep cleaning on the upstairs on Tuesday. My phone appointment's with the doctor on Monday. Howie has pulled all my tomato beds. God, I hope he pulled the zucchini beds. Picked up dog poop. Burned all the cardboard and cleaned off the decks, the deck, and we have a porch, a veranda, and a deck, and they go boom, boom, boom like that. So we got all the cardboard out of the porch, all the cardboard off the veranda, all the cardboard off the deck, and anything else that needed to be tidied up and moved, and disposed of because hopefully the boys will be helping their father pile wood on the weekend. Hey, Connie Watts, I'll say hi to everybody in just a minute. And then he pulled up all my tomato beds, and he cleaned the chimney and the wood stove. Yes, there's a video coming on Life with the Wolfies about the chimney and stuff. Tomorrow I may be going live in the kitchen again because I want to get my baking done. Anything I'm going to do with flour, I want to get it done before the cleaning lady comes on Tuesday. Because of the gluten, Arthur's gluten intolerance. So I'm going to be baking tomorrow. Trying to clean up, fold laundry, get it put away, and baking. I'm going to be baking tomorrow. And then I will wipe down my big flour jug off the fridge, tape it shut, and put it in my pantry. And that way we stay gluten-free until Monday when they leave, right? So there's that. But I want to get my baking done. Can you believe it? We're just about we're out of the chocolate zucchini bread and we're out of the banana bread. Howie just loves, well, obviously I love it too. But tomorrow I'm going to make green tomato pecan bread. And it's like banana, it's like zucchini bread. You don't know. You just don't know how good it is, right? I might even make chocolate green tomato bread just to, and I have bought molasses so I can make my brown sugar for all of that stuff. Anyway, my brain's all over the place. I had a lovely visit with Bubba on FaceTime today. And, I don't know about anybody else, but he kind of poops on command. He used to. Whenever we'd get on FaceTime when he was like a newborn, he would poop every single time. I'd watch him poop, right? Like not watch him poop, but I mean, I'd watch his face and you knew he was pooping. He was doing a good job of it. So, it's nice to know some things haven't changed. My grandson's 9 months old and he dances and he tells stories about his daddy. Oh my goodness. So anyway, that's been my weekend. I've started supper in the air fryer. We're having air fried chicken and potatoes and green beans. It's kind of you know what? You guys talked me into the air fryer. Well, London Sunshine did. And I love my air fryer. I love it. I get the chicken going for 20 minutes. And then I take a jar of potatoes out of the pantry and I pour what little water's in on off. Drop them in a bowl, give them some avocado oil or olive oil, and then season them. And they sit in a bowl in the fridge until the chicken is half done. And then when it dings off, that's a weird expression. I put the potatoes in around the chicken and I pop it back in and away we go. I love having a well-prepped pantry. All right, you know what? We got 62 people here, so let me just pop this out. The participants list. I'm getting a headache too. And I have a really busy day tomorrow. Tuesday, I'll be in here while the cleaning lady works, right? Hi, Seashell. Aloha and mahalo for always being here, Seashell. Connie Watts, Donna Lull. Hi, darling. Donna Statford, Dottie May, Becky Emerald Skies, Isabella Rude, KB, Canner, Linda Bop, how is Nooka's paw, honey? Lori, Lazora McChesney, Matthew Garrettson, Michelle Jones. And if I see any other names coming in, I will do my absolute best to shout you out and say hello. So I'm sorry you didn't get to go to your baptism, honey, but Nooka's paw, she was starting to chew on stitches and that she couldn't be left alone. So I get it. Hey, Pen, Deborah Butler. I bought the London Sunshine because of your review. Best thing I've done in a while. Isn't it got a nice basket? I mean, and you know what I do? I just like today, right? I opened it. I left my parchment paper in for my last round of potatoes. So I just pulled it out and I washed the parchment. The bottom was clean. Give the basket a wipe. Put the wet parchment back in. Popped it in. Put my chicken in. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. I just keep using the same parchment. Right? Hi, Red. How are you, darling? Brit Wannabe. Hi, Pen. We haven't seen you in a bit. How's the artist doing today? So that's kind of what's been going on. We're getting ready for Thanksgiving and it's like, the kids don't understand why I'm so excited. And so I was saying to Mel today, I said, do you realize this is our first family holiday dinner since the pandemic started? And she said, oh, well, we came up and Angie was there and she said, oh yeah, Briar was there. Briar was there, Mel. Not when Angie was here, but I mean, we haven't had like a Thanksgiving or a Christmas anything since pre-pandemic. Nuka is doing good as long as she leaves that paw alone. She looks to see if I'm watching before she tries. Now, too smart for her own good. Well, dogs aren't stupid, right? Well, I mean, occasionally you get an idiot dog just like you do in society, right? But I was picking chicken from the bones and gave the bones to the outside cats. Well, I had a whole lot of crookneck squash that got too big to be edible. And I watched Howie today as he took them. And he, like, I got compost, like peels and stuff. That goes into a pile we have going in the ravine that we're going to be filling in the spring, right? Then all the crookneck squashes and tomatoes that were no good, like not no good, but they had a mark on them or whatever. I just watched Howie go, boom, boom, zing, boom, firing them off the deck. I said, what are you doing? He said, feeding the deer. And I went, you know what? It is a really important thing for me. Like, you've seen us dispatch animals in the past. And hey, Deborah, you've seen us dispatch animals in the past. We've always expressed gratitude, even when we were dispatching them, because without the animals and the garden and all that stuff, and the bounty of the land, we would be in a tight spot, right? So that's how we actually think. We thank Mother Earth by feeding her. There's a reason why we don't cover our compost heap, because we get deer and porcupine and all kinds of stuff. So we kind of make offerings in the fall of anything we can't use. We offer it, to the soil and to the animals and stuff. It's a huge part of the circle of life. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm glad, Pen. I'm glad. The deer probably really like the squash, and my bell pepper plant is now 4 feet tall. Will it become a tree? Maybe. But you know what you could do is you could cut it down some. Don't cut it down too far, but prune it back, give it a couple of days, and then pot it up into fresh potting soil with good nutrients and bring it in and overwinter it, right? You can do that but I just don't have the space. But, so yeah, we haven't gone and got carrots or apples yet. That's next weekend. Well, next weekend's Thanksgiving here. It's harvest. It's the harvest supper here. Do your Christmas baking and cooking at the same time to freeze while you're in a gluten-free. No. See, this is, Empress, I got some email from you, so I'm going to check it out later. Maybe we can do something for sure. But I have a plan, you see, because if this, God, please let this lady work out. I have a feeling she will, because she's in high demand. And if she does the required things in the required amount of time that I need her to do, hopefully she'll do my fridge and my stove. She's going to do the oven, like in the stove, but hopefully she'll do my fridge. Because when Briar did it, he only did the fridge. He didn't do the freezer. But if it all works out, then she's coming back every 2 weeks just to, touch up, vacuum, mop, give the bathroom and the kitchen a going over and see ya in 2 weeks kind of thing, right? So, but I've already decided that if this works out, I know I'm putting a lot of pressure on this poor woman. She didn't even know it. But if this all works out, then if the kids are, like, their house may not be ready for Christmas. Uh-oh. I'll be right back. I got to put my potatoes in. Remind me what I was talking about when I come back. Oh, good Lord, my knees. But I'm walking better than I was yesterday. Nice. Beautiful car. Alrighty then. You know what I love about that London Sunshine Air Fryer? Is the basket is so big that I can put 2 full like chicken legs with the backs attached in it. Like keep them separate so that they start to cook. And then after 20 minutes, open it and I put in my seasoned potatoes, and there's just enough room for a quarter potatoes around the chicken. It's like I have to repair my New Wave oven too. I love my New Wave too. Hey, Just Mom. How's it going? Donna Stafford. So, Just Mom, welcome. Welcome, right? You know what I'm talking about. Hey, Minette. So while I'm talking about it, let's pay the bills. Now, when I did this on a live stream the other day, somebody left in the comics, well, you are asking for money. No, I'm not. I'm paying the bills. I'm looking after the things that help pay the bills. And those things are 4 jars. Every little bit counts, right? 4 jars, you get 10% off. I get 10%. You get 10% off, I get the other 10%, right? There's 4 jars. There is my little homesteading basics book, which is not what it's called. And then there's Patreon, right? So I don't ask anybody to buy or subscribe or do anything that they cannot do, don't want to do, or cannot afford to. Period. Full stop. You guys support me by watching my videos. That's it. That's all, right? However, YouTube being what it is, I have tried to diversify my income over the years. Now, the only reason I mention this is so that because there's new people coming in all the time. And I wrote that book 8 years ago. So that book is a homesteading basics book. It's called OurHalfAcreHomestead's Canning, Dehydrating, and Neat to Know Stuff. Okay? It gives you the basics on simple syrups, bechamel sauces, basic breads, and then it gives you some of my favorite cooking and baking recipes. It gives you the basics on water bath canning, pressure canning meat. It tells you how to render lard. It tells you how to make soap from your rendered lard, how to make basic laundry soap, spice mixes, all of these things that you kind of need to know. And then there's canning, how, not just canning, but there's canning recipes. Okay, some of my favorite canning recipes. That's the book. Okay, and I am going to be working on a new one because people have asked me to, I've got a list. Then there's Patreon. Patreon is a place where people pay $5 a month American or $7.50 a month Canadian to support me, just to help support me because they like my content across all my channels. But what you get, like, because sometimes people tip me through here, and the truth is I'd rather you didn't, unless I'm reading cards, and that's kind of a given. But I don't like people tipping me in here because YouTube takes 30%, right? So if you give me $5 or tip me $5 for, say, reading cards, then $1.50 of that YouTube takes. With Patreon, they only take 8%, not 30. They take 8. And for that $5 US a month, you get 2 unlisted private live streams a week on Monday and Wednesday. And I leave those up unless the content, the discussion got really on YouTube community guidelines friendly, then I would have to delete it. However, for the most part, I leave those live streams up so that if you miss them, because I usually do them at about 4 in the afternoon, if you miss them, then you can watch them after the fact. But on Fridays, we have Freaky Friday, sometimes Sassy Saturday, depending on if, sometimes I'm in pain and I can't. And that's where we cut loose for about an hour and a half and listen to music and put on the disco lights and just kind of shake off any kinks from the week. And that's 4, you get 2 unlisted private live streams with me twice a week, plus Freaky Friday, 4 weeks in a month for $5. The reason I tell you that is because most people who come to Freaky Friday say the $5 alone is worth the 4 Fridays a month, sometimes 5, right? And 4 jars. 4 jars always pops. Do I have a box in here somewhere? 4 jars are the only lids. I was just talking to Raf the other day. She emailed me yesterday, and she said she was so ticked off because her name brand lids were some of them were she was losing their seals after 2 years. And I said, that company only guarantees their lids for 18 months. After 18 months, there's no guarantee that they'll hold their seal. That's why I've been using 4 jars for 2 years. So they may be pricey, but they're the quality you need. They're heavy duty. They're just, it's the only lids. I have the only 2 failures I've had in 2 years with my 4 jars lids was my error to begin with, right? So when I say 4 jars always pops, I mean, like someone said, oh, I had one that didn't pop. And I said, well, go back and check your jar and find out. Oh, she came back and said, oh, I put 2 lids together by accident, that kind of thing. So the link is going up. There's 4 jars for Canada. There's 4 jars for the US. And if you use the coupon code HalfAcre, all one word in capital letters, you get 10% off. Okay. So that when I say that's me paying the bills, I'm just putting that information out there. I'm not asking you to do anything. Right. And I'm not asking you for anything except to hear me. Okay. So what else is going on? Oh, I'm getting so excited. Getting so excited to spend some time with my grandbaby. Well, I remember I bought a canner and I'm going to try and can foods. Matthew, learn. It's like in carpentry or anything else. Measure twice, cut once. Don't skip any steps and start on the simple stuff, okay? I pulled 2 different lids out of the wash today. One 4 jars lid and another not. You can see the difference between the rubber seals. 4 jars is so much better. Yeah, they are. And Matthew, I'm really proud of you. That's good for you. Good for you. Well, good. That's, that's why I try, and that's what I try to do, is I try to share as much information as I can. Now, I need a sip of my tea, and I'm going to go behind the fan. So supper's in. I'm taking the rest of the day off after I finish editing tomorrow's OurHalfAcreHomestead video. Did I say that right? Absolutely. Take your time, follow the rules, and don't be rebel canning until you are a seasoned canner and know exactly what you're doing. For instance, I can zucchini. Full stop. I think cans grated zucchini. There is no book for that except for one cookbook that I never got to see. But I followed this woman who followed a cookbook, right? For me, that's rebel canning. Okay, that's rebel canning. But never in a million years will you see me can raw ground meat of any kind. I will raw pack chicken, bone in, skinless, boneless, don't matter. I will raw pack cubed beef. I will raw pack cubed pork, but I will never ever raw pack ground meat, because you got to look at it as thousands of little pieces of meat, and every one of them has a side that may not get properly heated through in the canner. It's a viscosity issue, kind of like canning pumpkin. Okay. I can can pumpkin puree as a seasoned canner because I know the viscosity it needs to be to can properly, but I still don't do it. They tell you there's no safe way to can pumpkin puree because they can't tell you the exact thickness that you need to do it in, right? Hey, Lena, it's been a while. So they just play it safe and say there's absolute no canning of pumpkin pie filling, but what they mean is you cannot can pumpkin that thick that you get in the store. You buy a can of store-bought pumpkin or pumpkin pie filling. You can't safely can that thickness of something like that, right? Is potatoes. They look so pretty. Well, there you go. Potatoes are tricky. Don't start with potatoes. I wouldn't start with potatoes. I purchased 2 used canning books from Canada, A Guide to Home Preserving by Laura Rees, Westover. Oh, awesome. Good for you. So, and you'll never see me can something like meatloaf. A, that's raw packing hamburger. B, that's adding a grain to it. 2 very unsafe methods. Period, full stop. So there's rebel canning, like canning dry packed potatoes or dry packed vegetables. I may do a trial package, or I may do a trial canner of dry packing carrots. We will see. We will see. But that's about as rebellious as I get. Good job, Stacy. Good grabs. About 6 months ago, I went to Costco and bought a whole bunch of salmon to can. When I got home, I saw all I had was quart jars. They pressure canned, if I remember correctly, over 2 hours. Never again. Have you seen mine? I've canned salmon in little wee tiny jars. But you can them as pints. But yeah, that's a lot of salmon. You might, if you've want to open a quart jar of salmon, right? Make yourself up salmon potato patties and par cook them and then freeze them. Onions, instant mashed potatoes, but make sure they're potato or leftover mashed potatoes. Salmon, leftover mashed potatoes, minced onion, parsley, any seasoning like that you want, maybe a bit of herbs de Provence, breadcrumb them, air fry them, or bake them until they're just starting to toast, and then let them cool and put them in the freezer in portions. Or you can make there's all kinds of things you can do like that. Recovering from another attack, back seized up. I can stand today and have a roasting pan of apple pie sauce I made, and we'll be making the fruit leather with this too. Well, don't overdo it. Trish, your back's got to last you the rest of your life, right? That's it. That's all. No more. It's no good having a pantry full of stuff if next year you can't repeat the process because you've killed yourself in the process, right? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Joe. I seen it's beginner's proof and easy to use. What are we talking about? I got sent a steam canner. And I do believe that's Rhonda in North Carolina sent me that steam canner. I haven't had a chance to use it yet. But then I haven't done any apples or anything yet. So the canner you got. Okay, good. Apple fruit leather. I like dehydrated apples. That's what I had for my snack last night. I love dehydrated apple. Hey, Cheryl, how's Long Island? How you doing? Now, don't put yourself out, Joe. Please don't. So things are moving along, progressing. The decks are cleared and ready for firewood. And we have to leave the barbecue so that it is, if we can, because we got extra wood this year. So if we can't, keep the barbecue on the deck, then I'll get Howie to put it out into into his garage somewhere. But I'll go on 4 jars and get those rings. We'll just make sure You're getting snow already, Manette? Where are you? I use my steam canner all the time. I love it. Well, I like the idea that I don't have to lift a heavy canner full of water to drain it. So I'm really looking forward to that. Somehow I managed to change videos with the earbud and I missed some of what Bev apple leather is really good. Okay. Zach Lee, hi. I once had apple and zucchini fruit leather. There's another idea, Bev, and also a good snack. Oh, right, Nevada. I know I keep asking you that. They aren't pricey. Awesome. Well, I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but still on Friday, Howie has to stop at the farmer's market and check and see if they have bushels of potatoes. If they have bushels of new potatoes, he's got to get me 2 of them. They can sit in the porch till after Thanksgiving. I still have to get carrots, and I still need to get onions. So, well, it's not Vegas, so it's easy for people to forget. That's true. It's Laughlin, isn't it? Laughlin, Nevada? Oh, so there's a couple of people from Nevada. Cool. So, as soon as I get my hands on carrots, hopefully some carrots, some deer apples, and potatoes, and then one more trip to Costco because I forgot my instant mashed potatoes. Did everybody see my video from Rumble saying, prepared? If not, don't come to my house? I did a video for Rumble yesterday after this great big long drawn out live on Our Half Acre Homestead, which seems to be doing okay. I must have followed all the community guidelines in my discussion, but by the time I had kind of let off the steam there, I just did a very mild video for Rumble saying, you know what? If the past 3 years have taught us anything, it's that nothing is certain and anything can happen. Lockdowns, snowstorms, fires, anything. So what we used to be called conspiracy theorists, preppers back in the day, now we are just common sense people. Isn't that wild? So it might be a good idea for those who did not see that video. Hi, Mary. How are you, darling? Carolyn, hi. If I missed you, Suburban, hey. My cat needs meds and subcutaneous fluids. Back to the vet in a couple of days. Okay, honey, we'll remember them in our prayers. So, even if you're on a really limited income, it's easier than to buy something like if you buy 6 cans of corn. It's easy to buy 7. You can always absorb that. And if you do that long enough, your pantry gets stocked up really quick. It's also a good idea to learn how to cook with less. Like my garden medley vegetables, full of vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin K, B6, folate, calcium, potassium, phosphorus, manganese, and copper, as well as fiber. I'm calling that stuff summer in a jar, summer nutrition in a jar, because it cooked down, and as things cooked down, I added to it, right? And I got, well, you'll see tomorrow on our Half Acre Homestead, but that stuff in the winter, a jar or 2 a week, or even 1 a week, gives you such a boost of vitamins and minerals to help see you through the winter. You know how they say an apple a day keeps the doctor away? Well, a jar of this stuff a week gives it a boost. You know what I mean? Hey, Sharon! Lena K, I cook for 1 or 2 if mom wants some. If it's not just me, right? Well, hi, Elaine. So yeah, that's kind of we're taking the common sense approach. We don't have to deal with fear. We don't have to deal with paranoia. There's none of that involved. We have learned that lockdowns happen. We have learned that, you know, stores during the pandemic, they handled everything however they handled it. They could have handled a lot of things different, but there were times you couldn't get stuff, right? So, you know, it's not a bad idea to have at least a month's worth of over-the-counter medication, like acetaminophen, cold and cough medication, sinus medication, allergy medication, right? Epsom salts, those kind of things. Castor oil, right? Anti-nauseants, all of those things. Toilet paper, sanitary products, extra soap. I make my own. I haven't bought bar soap in years, except for maybe Laundry Bar when I find them. Extra soap, extra toilet paper, paper towels, and not just your canning stuff. You might want to buy an extra box of instant mashed potatoes. That stretches many a meal. That can't be done. I'll be right back. That's looking good. The whole point of that video that I put up on Rumble is, you know, we've heard back in the day, did everyone see what happened to my eyes when the beep stopped, when the beep happened? I'll have to go back and look. Horseradish and garlic pickles. Well, I got a bunch of green tomatoes and a bunch of red tomatoes. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something. I have about 20 or so more pounds of apples and maybe about the same of pears to do. Oh, wow. Good job. Chicken butt? Manette? Guess what? I've got an idea. If I can't get, okay, what were we talking about? I grew potatoes for the first time ever. Did you really? Did you really? How did they go? Because I'm horrible. I'm horrible at growing potatoes, and it's because I have a battle with potato bugs, and I think they come out of the woods. Right? Because the closer to the driveway you get, the less they were a problem, right? So, but I did this little video on Rumble, this little 10-minute video on Rumble saying, look, you know, think about having an extra can of gas in your garage with some gasoline stabilizer in it. I think you pay $3 for a little bottle of gasoline stabilizer. It's a good idea if you have a generator to make sure it's tuned up and the oil's changed and everything is for winter. You know, these things, you know, it doesn't hurt if you could afford it to get an extra load of firewood. Oh, do you know what? Thank you, Elaine. Remember I was talking about pellet stoves. I don't know if you were on Our Half Acre Homestead yesterday. I was talking about pellet stoves. I want to get one for the basement. There's one that doesn't need electricity. At on Amazon, it's like $2,200, but it's the weirdest looking thing. It's like this, and it's only about this wide, but it's like this, and it has a zigzag glass thing in here where you can see the fire going up, and it's a gravity feed of heat. It's just amazing. I grow potatoes in 5-gallon buckets with holes on the bottom and side of the bucket for good drainage. And you can move them if you need to. It does very well, and no taking all over in soil digging. I might do that on the deck next year. So I saw this pellet stove, and I'm gonna, if I can't get my cook stove, I'm gonna shoot for the pellet stove for the basement, because if the power ever really went down for more than 36 hours, my basement would be a problem. It's all baseboard heat, right? And pellet stoves require electricity. Until now, I'm so excited. So, have you tried growing potatoes in straw bales? Oh no, God, I couldn't do that. I've seen people who've done it, and the whole straw bale becomes a mess. And then you have to deal with the disposal of the straw bale. So I'm not worried about it. I'm really not worried about it. Can we use the regular rings if we have? Yes, absolutely. 4Jar sells rings as well. But if you have rings, for God's sakes, use them. I have a bin of them. I have a cardboard box, and then I have a tub on my counter. And when they start to get rusty or old or dented or bent, boom, into the recycling bin they go, right? And then 4 jars, I get another thing of lids and rings, a couple from 4 jars, and that replaces what I throw away every year. So what else was I talking about? I have lots of new jars that have rings. Good. Excellent. I'm going to cook a chicken for Thanksgiving, and I'm going to stuff it with my homemade sausage and minced onion, leeks. No, there's leeks in it. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to put in minced onion and peppers and stuff like that, because because I won't be using bread in it. And I've tried gluten-free bread and stuffing. It's just not the same. So, potatoes. Yeah. Red, I was thinking about trying the Ruth Stout method for potatoes. I've grown them in the past 2 years, but I'm not impressed so far. First year I grew them in grow bags. This year in my raised bed. Yeah, my garden's no good for potatoes. But then, right, you learn new methods. And God knows I got buckets. So we'll see. Instead of growing herbs in winter sowing herbs, which I'm not going to do this year. Although I may grow some herbs in my the one I made out of the water bottle with all the pockets. But if I get 5 or 6 5-gallon pails, I start the potatoes in the bottom of the bucket, and as they grow, fill them up. Like once they get this tall, if they're determinate, I can't remember which is which. One kind of potato will produce more potatoes if you bury the foliage every time it raises just under 6 inches above the ground or straw or whatever. And then there are ones, it doesn't matter how much you bury the foliage, they're not going to make 2 potatoes. One's determinate, one's indeterminate. But I would get the kind that I want to try them purple, dark flesh purple ones. But I would try the kind that you put in the bottom of the bucket with dirt. And as they grow, you can add wood shavings, sawdust, straw, that kind of thing. Indeterminate are the vines. Okay. And are the determinate the ones that will... Hi, Ninja Clan Kathy. Have you ever checked on cassava flour? It's gluten-free and can be used just like all-purpose. No way. Really? I will look that up. Because if I'd have known that, well, I'll look that up. Linda, text that to me, will you? Like message that to me, because if you can, that would be perfect. I put the straw bales around the edges of the garden, and when they are ready, I put straw over the garden and then tile it in for the next year. I have sandy soil that helps hold the water. Good for you. Oh, good for you, Matt. So I won't use anything else. I would in an emergency, but just in case I felt the need, I sold all my Bernardin lids at a yard sale for 50 cents a box. That's how much I thought of them. And can do sourdough because it breaks down a lot of the gluten. I won't even try that. But I did see this cool little kind of almost a bread muffin but there's no, you can make like these little mini muffins. They're like rolls, but they're made with cornstarch, egg, and I believe it's mozzarella cheese and yogurt or something. And they go poof, like little, they almost look like little Yorkshire puddings. So I'm thinking of looking at that for Thanksgiving as well. Oh, good for you, Matthew. You get the 10% off. Hey, Trudy. Potatoes like sandy soil because they can push that sand. Right. Okay. So that's, it's been a really busy weekend. And I still have some editing to do tonight. And cleaning and folding to do tomorrow. And a doctor's appointment over the phone tomorrow. And I've got baking to do tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to be a really busy day. But I don't know, you guys might get a live in the kitchen with Mrs. V tomorrow on Life with the Wolfies. Because God knows I'm going to be chopping and pureeing green tomatoes to make green tomato bread. Popovers? I don't know. I thought popovers were just a muffin, right? But this is a gluten-free thing. So if that's the case, I'm going to have to get cornstarch. And I actually have clear gel, but I don't think that's modified cornstarch. So I would rather just have regular cornstarch. But listen, supper's almost ready. I got to go behind my fan. And right now, we're going to do some spiritual nourishment. Now, if you don't want to stay, there is no judgment if you leave. Everybody has their own way of communing with the source of their faith, right? This is where we come together and, take off all the extra trappings and we join heart to heart, hand to hand across the universe. And we do a blessing. We share a blessing. We talk to God. Now, you can finish and start and take what you want and leave the rest out. That's okay. This is not about, one religion or another. This is about us coming together, heart to heart, filling ourselves with the light of God's love and lifting everybody up who needs it. Period, full stop. Okay? So while people leave, you don't have to wait until my eyes are closed to leave. You go ahead. It's not everybody's cup of tea. And I will go behind my fan and I'm going to watch more canning videos. Oh, that's okay, Black Rock. That's okay. We'll see you maybe tomorrow. Popovers are individual Yorkshire puddings. Okay. Thank you, Helen Burke. I didn't know that. That's what individual Yorkshire puddings were called. I had no idea. All right. I'm still in a lot of pain. However, Howie found me some Orajel. And it's getting better. I found that if I bite down on something when the pain gets bad and I push it back up, but I put the Orajel on, and as it starts to numb, I bite down on like a folded piece of paper towel or something to push things back up in the socket, and I've been sleeping. I have been sleeping. It's been amazing. Wait a minute, this hand is going. Sometimes I gotta pull my thumb almost out of its socket to stop the pain. I don't know what I was just talking about, but oh yeah, so my teeth are doing good. My knees are still peg legs. When I say I've got peg legs, it's like my knees barely bend. The only time they bend is when I sit or I'm laying down or whatever. But when I'm walking, my knees are stiff, right? My kitten is making biscuits on me. Oh, biscuits. I just got the vision in my head. I've never heard that before. That's awesome. So, for all those who care to, please help us close with a little bit of spiritual nourishment. Let's take this time as we're doing our deep breathing to imagine clean, fresh air going into our lungs and pushing out any stale air that we may have left in our psyche from the week, right? Think about all the things as you're deep breathing. Think about all the things that we have to be grateful for. And then think about the people who aren't as fortunate as we. Not as fortunate monetarily, not as fortunate health-wise. Like, yeah, I may be a crippled old gimp, but I'm still functional, and I'm grateful for that. Maybe the people that are alone or elderly or frightened or all these things. Think about maybe some people in your life that you want lifted up, especially the ones that are really difficult to get along with, like our Prime Minister. I lift him up to God. I hand him to God daily for the simple reason is I can't deal with that. You know, there's just some things that are beyond my human understanding that only God understands, right? So we lift a lot of people up that you know, let's just get into it now that everybody's left. Oh yeah, North Koreans, oh my God. Did you use the max strength liquid Oragel? I stocked up just in case and dab with a Q-tip on the gums. I don't know what this is, how he found it in the bottom of his pill caddy, but it's a cream. And I was squeezing it right in between my teeth and rubbing it on my gums with my finger. And then when it gets numb, because I find if I drink my tea really, really hot, it affects it. Because what's holding me... Now, I've also heard from my cousin who said that it may be tartar that's pushing my teeth out from the bone. I don't know, but I'm going to be going to a dentist before Christmas, I hope. And there is my supper. The North Koreans. I watched a woman talk about who got out of North Korea, and she was talking about how spring is the dying time because, you know, they go scrambling for weeds. That because most weeds are edible when they're young and some can be toxic when they're older. So, but they call it the dying time because they've starved. They're at the point of starvation come spring. So, hi, Linda. So yes, Empress. Yes, I agree. All the people in the world, we may have things, we have our own hard times. Everybody has something to struggle with. Everybody has a special burden that they have to carry. But there's always somebody worse off than ourselves. Right? Oh my God. You know, my feet hurt, my knees hurt. Well, what about the person that doesn't have any legs at all? Right? A lot to be grateful for. So let's do some deep breathing. And let's just be in the shining light of God's love and share it, right? So. Hey, God, the creator and one source of everything imaginable and everything out there that we've never seen. Thank you, God. Thank you for giving me the energy I needed to do 4 days to get, it took me 4 days to get my garden medley vegetables in the pantry, but they're there. Thank you, God. Thank you for bringing us together in a community where we share ideas about canning and cooking and health and, supporting each other and getting through life on a regular basis, right? But God, there's a lot of people out there that just are so battered by stress, fear, financial chaos, worry, relatives, illness, ill health, just, anything that plagues us. And they just are so battered by it, God, they can't, sometimes they can't see through the chaos to your light. So God, we lift those people above any chaos or turmoil that's going on in their lives. We lift them up through that to you so that the light of your love will pour down on them. And even if for the moment they can't see it, they can feel it, God. They feel your love. They feel our love boosted by you. We look after them, God, especially the mean ones and the nasty ones and the ones that just, don't want to hear it. But God, it's easy to pray for the people we love. But it's the people that we can't love or we can't like or we just don't want anything to do with, or that people that infuriate or outrage us. Those people, God, are the ones we lift up the most. Why? Because they need you the most. So for all the sick and the suffering and the deranged and the angry and the useless, we lift them up to you too, God. And God, we ask you that you fill us now so full of the divine light of your love that it carries us through the darkness, the clouds, the chaos, and the pain. Shining your love light so bright that we cannot help but be an example of your love. God, please help us to be an example of your love. And thank you for bringing us together. We've made many a family member and friend here in this community, and we want to keep them. Right? So thank you, God, for bringing us together and all the blessings in our lives. Amen. Shalom. Namaste. Miigwech. Peace be with you. Merry meet. Blessed be. Walk in the shining light of God's love. Whatever language you use to talk to the source of your faith, we can only help but appreciate the love and support we get. So love is the language we should always use in our lives, in our relationships, and in our talks with God. Because God is all good all the time. God is love. Everything else is just 50 shades of gray into the darkness. This is Mrs. Volfie from Life with the Volfies saying, I will see you guys Thursday night. Take care. God bless. I'm going to go have supper. Mwah! I love you guys. And I know I always say, every once in a while I get a catchphrase and I hang on to it for a while. Well, the catchphrase this week, and has been for a few weeks, is I don't have to see you to love you. God has filled my heart so full of love that my heart sees you. And that's all that matters. Take care, and we'll see you again soon. Maybe tomorrow. Mwah! I love you.